All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking a geopolitical firestorm. A hypothetical one, yes, but with massive, real-world implications for India. We're talking about the 2026 West Asia War and the incredible crisis it could trigger. So, picture this. It all kicks off on a single day, February 28th, 2026. After years of tension, proxy fights, and talks going nowhere, that long shadow war just explodes. It goes from cold to hot in a matter of hours, and the entire region is changed forever. And this was the match that lit the fuse. I mean, this wasn't just another border clash or a strike on some militia. This was a decapitation strike. The news, which Iranian state media later confirmed, was an absolute earthquake. The assassination of their most powerful leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
So, how did this all go down? Let's take a closer look at the initial attack that just set the whole region ablaze.
Well, it turns out this was a very carefully planned campaign codenamed Operation Epic Fury. It was a joint U.S.-Israeli operation, and its goal? Well, it wasn't just to send a message. The objective was to tear down the very pillars of the Iranian regime's power. And when you look at the targets, I mean, wow, the scope is just breathtaking. They hit everything all at once. The top leadership, the key nuclear sites like Fordow and Natanz, their missile and drone factories, even their network of proxy forces across the region. This was designed to be a knockout blow.
But, as you can probably guess, the response came fast, and it was every bit as brutal as you'd expect. Iran didn't just take the punch, it lashed out immediately, and that's what turned this targeted strike into an all-out regional war.
And Iran's own language here, it tells you everything you need to know. The IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, called their counterattack their most ferocious offensive operation in history. This wasn't about defense. This was about payback, pure and simple. And you can see just how fast this whole thing spiraled out of control. Iran immediately went after U.S. military bases all over the Gulf, in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait. But they didn't stop there. Missiles started flying toward Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and then, the big one for the global economy, they started hitting commercial ships. Suddenly, the entire region was a live fire zone. So this is where we pivot. Because for a country like India, watching from not so far away, this isn't some distant conflict on the news. This becomes a direct threat, a full-blown crisis that puts everything, its people, its economy, its foreign policy, to the test. First and foremost, you have the human element. And this number, it's staggering. 9 million. That's how many Indian citizens live and work in the Gulf. 9 million people who are now trapped in the crossfire.
So, the Indian government had to act, and they had to act fast. We saw 58 special flights scramble just to get people home. The Indian Navy sent one of its most advanced warships, the INS Surat, to help with evacuations. But, tragically, you can't save everyone. Reports came in of at least 3 Indian nationals feared dead in attacks on ships off of Oman's coast.
So, you can see the problem, right? India is walking this incredible diplomatic tightrope. On one side, it has this special strategic partnership with the U.S. and growing ties with Israel. On the other side, it has a long, complicated history with Iran that's crucial for energy and trade. This isn't just a tough spot. It's the ultimate stress test for India's foreign policy. Okay, beyond the people and the politics, this war instantly triggers a massive economic shockwave. And India is right in the epicenter. This chart right here, it says it all. India is incredibly dependent on this region for its energy. We're talking 45% of its crude oil and a whopping 85% of its cooking gas, its LPG. When your main supply line suddenly becomes a war zone, your country's energy security is in deep, deep trouble. And the exposure is just massive. It's not just one thing. You've got $45 billion in money sent home by workers that's now at risk. Every $10 jump in the price of oil adds another $14 billion to India's import bill. And it even hits farming. 40% of crucial fertilizers come from there. This is a brutal wake-up call, the kind that forces a country to get real serious, real fast about things like green energy and finding new suppliers. And look, this isn't some high-level economic theory. This hits you and me right in the wallet. The Strait of Hormuz gets disrupted, so oil and gas prices shoot up. That makes it more expensive to transport everything and for farmers to grow food. And the results? The price of pretty much everything goes up. That's inflation, hitting every single household. And we can't forget this. India has poured $500 million into developing the Chabahar port in Iran. This was supposed to be a total game changer, a new trade route to Central Asia that gets around Pakistan. With a war raging, the future of that huge strategic project is completely up in the air. So, with the region on fire and all of its key interests under threat, what does India do? How does it even begin to navigate this treacherous new world? So what's India's playbook in this high-stakes chess game? It's a mix of being assertive, but also really cautious. On one hand, you see the hard power, sending advanced warships like the INS Surat to protect its shipping. On the other, they're working the phones like crazy, talking to everybody to try and de-escalate, all while a 24/7 control room is helping its citizens. This isn't just managing a crisis. It's India being forced to project both power and diplomacy at the same time on a level we've never seen before.
You know, a conflict like this does more than just create problems for India. It forces a reckoning. It makes those tough questions about its energy future, its diplomatic balancing act, and its role as a security power in the region, it makes them urgent. So as it walks this incredibly fine line, the ultimate question really is, can India protect its people and its interests without getting dragged into the very fire it's trying to put out?